Hello, my name's Dan, and today we are going to be making a lantern out of this pumpkin here. We have our pumpkin here. Now, if you would like to learn how to grow your own pumpkins, I'm going to link a video down below and you can see how I grew this pumpkin here, Variety Pacific Giant. You can, of course, purchase pumpkins. You can grow pumpkins of different sizes, so you don't have to have one as big as this. So have a look about. So let's turn this lovely pumpkin Variety Pacific Giant into a lantern. This pumpkin is going to serve two purposes. One is to make a lantern and the other is to make some delicious pumpkin soup out of, or something like that. So you will need a bowl to put the flesh in of the pumpkin. You will also need a knife here for designs later on. Be careful with knives, do not cut yourself. You'll also need something to mark your designs with, so this is a Sharpie permanent marker, and for a pumpkin this size, to remove the top you'll probably need a saw. For a smaller pumpkin a knife will probably do. So I've been doing a bit of doodling on this pumpkin here. So what you want to do is identify your nicest side of the pumpkin. Looking at the pumpkin here, you can see this is the nicest side. You can see my little doodle at the front there. This is probably not where the face, or not exactly what the face is going to look like, but it will change as I do this. So looking around the back here, you can see that this part of the pumpkin, it's a paler colour, and that's the side that the pumpkin was laying on whilst it was growing. So it wouldn't really make a very good side for the face. This side is indeed much better. The first step is we are going to take off the top so that we can scoop the flesh out. Taking the saw, we are going to take the top off. You want to do it as clean as possible because that way you can use it as a lid. So this is of course not rehearsed in any way. So if this doesn't go according to plan, there's no second take. I'm going to do it clean, not going too bad. Right. Cool, good flesh. That's the lid. There we go. So you can have a look at that and you can see now there is some flesh in there that can hopefully be used for pumpkin soup. The next stage is to safely scoop the flesh out and put it here in this washing up bowl, like this. I'm just going to cut it with a knife. Please be extra careful when you're using knives or any tools or anything. You really don't want to hurt yourself. These Opinel knives are very sharp. I used them for grafting fruit trees and they really can, you know, I did cut my finger with one year, so you want to be very careful. So let's so this bit here, this sort of stuff, this is what's going to be used probably for the pumpkin soup. There'll be quite a bit of it as well. Now that's the flesh there, so fair bit really, and some really nice seeds as well, loads of them. So I'm going to be saving these and I'll probably end up growing some of them next year. So you can see bits like that, a lot of the flesh is for the soup. So if this was going to be solely dedicated to making soup, I'd probably take the rind off first and then make the soup out of, you know, the first few inches or so, because that's where most of the flesh is located. I'm certainly not a chef by any means, but that's probably what I would end up doing. Nicely cleared out, so there you go, you can see that, and I'll show you inside. Nice bit of room there, so that's grand. So Dan the artist, I'm just going to redraw my face on here. So let's carve the pumpkin a face. Right, so let's do it. Now this knife is probably not thick enough for the job. Now it's coming through. So far not too bad. Hey, so for you chefs out there, comment down below with regards to the making of pumpkin soup, pumpkin pie, whatever pumpkin dishes you are able to make. Let people know, because I'm really no chef. But looking at that look, you can see that the rind, the skin, the flesh, etc. Look at that look. So that looks quite nice, actually. Now, I don't know what raw pumpkin tastes like, but let's find out. That's okay, actually. Right, so let's do the next one. Oh, goodness. Looking cool. Now for the mouth. Right, so there we are. So we have a bit more pumpkin flesh for the pumpkin dishes. Looking all right, actually. So far. Comment down below, does he look menacing enough to you? So I'm just cutting round just to get a bit more of this flesh out for the pumpkin soup. You want to make sure you leave a good amount around the edges though, because if you don't, you won't have enough to put your lid back onto. But I'm very happy actually with the amount of flesh that's come from this pumpkin. I want to leave the rind relatively thick because I want it to last, you know, as long as possible. I'm just assuming that the thicker the outer rind left, the longer it'll take before it sort of decomposes and then ends up in the compost bin, because that is its probably its eventual place. But there you go, bit more flesh in there and a nice sized outer bit for the lid to go back on. Now there we are. So when I picked this a month or so ago, weighed 46.8 kilograms. So we're going to weigh it now on these scales here, and we can see how much sort of flesh weight, if you will, we got out of it. So I'll just put that in there, I reckon. 38 kilos. So 38 to 43, what's that, 6 kilos, something like that, 12, 13, 14 pounds, whatever, of flesh weight taken from it. So, of course, there would be a lot more. But, you know, the lantern is the main usage for this at the moment. So, of course, when you think about the amount of food in there, look, quite a lot. So, anyway, there we are. There's the finished article of the lantern. Go away. If you want to send me pictures of your lanterns to danielmunderwood100@gmail.com, please feel free to send them to me. Bye! Well, there we are. You can see the one on the left is now a lantern and the one on the right is still an intact pumpkin form. So this variety, Pacific Giant, definitely one that I'm going to be growing next year.